Today's video is brought to you by Oxido LED lighting. You might think that you can see just fine at night. Well, I did too, until I did this little upgrade. As you can see from this footage, here is some before Oxido LED lighting, and here is some after Oxido LED lighting. The difference is amazing. With high brightness and easy installation, Oxido LED lighting is definitely the route for you. They're easy to install, and they're available for all makes and models. Click on the link in the description below and enter promo code 612motorsports at checkout to get yourself 15% off. Now back to our video.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of 612 Motorsports. I have a little time to kill before an appointment this afternoon, and I thought it'd be a good time to talk to you about my history with motorcycles. But before we get into that, I'd like to encourage you all to go ahead and hit that subscription button, the notification bell, so you're kept up to date every time I upload a new video. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. So my history with motorcycles is not huge by any means. I was fortunate enough to get the Kawasaki for a Christmas present, maybe about 10-12 years ago now. And I did help make that bike, build it up, and that really got me interested in bikes. Now, my older brother has been a motorcycle enthusiast for many years. He did have a pretty bad crash on one many years ago, but luckily he was fine, just sore, laid in bed for a few days, but didn't break anything and was not hurt really in any way. So that also helped me kind of get into bikes. I did have a Kawasaki KDX-80 when I was younger. That was a fun little dirt bike to run around on. I've also had a couple of mopeds in my day. Here's a picture of me on my first one, which I want to say was a JCPenney's or a Sears model. And that was the type that you had to pedal real fast and pull a little lever and she'd fire up and you could go scoot around on, and that was pretty fun. But unfortunately I wasn't old enough to even have a permit at the time, so I couldn't really take it too far over to the neighbor's house and buddy's house down the road, but that was about the extent of that. I did also have a Harley Davidson moped, and I want to say it was a 68 or a 69, and it was actually a 69cc moped, and that was pretty fun. I used to cruise all over hell and back on that thing, but I didn't really want to kick on a lot of miles on that one, and I ended up selling it after owning it for about 4 or 5 years. Kind of wish I still had it, but a guy can't keep everything, right? So motorcycles, then, I've also had a little experience, as you can tell by the Kawasaki, on building them, working on them, whatnot, and they were a little intimidating at first, but unless you try and just break into it, you're just never going to do anything because you're afraid of it. So I figured, hell, throw caution to the wind. What's the worst that can happen? I have to pay somebody to get it running for me, and to be honest, that's not the end of the world. It's also a learning curve. So I bought a 78 Kawasaki 1000 from a old boss of mine for $300, and this is what it looked like when I got it. Wasn't very much to write home about. Somebody, I don't know if it was him or the previous owner before him, but they took the rear shocks off and replaced them with some steel square tubing to make it a hardtail, and that was just crappy. They threw some really bad handlebars on it, and they tried to do some custom stuff as far as deleting a lot of things, so the wiring harness was just tore apart. It wouldn't run. It just was kind of a problem. Although the best thing about it was that it was bored out 100 over, so it was really an 1100. And to be honest, the only reason I bought that bike was for the motor and trans. I wanted to put that in the Kawasaki and make that just a bandit, man. I wanted to make that sucker scream. It already had the looks, and being only a 650, I thought, geez, if I throw an 1100 in this thing, hang on for dear life, because it's going to be a bat out of hell. Unfortunately, I had done so many modifications to the frame of the Kamikaze that this 1100 now would not fit. It was wider and it was taller, so it didn't fit. So what I ended up doing was putting the motor and trans back in that frame, putting the original shocks back on it. I bought a wiring harness and stuff, that few little items that it really needed. I got it running, and basically I painted the tank and the fenders, I reshot the frame and the handlebars, cleaned that stuff up a little bit, and I ended up selling it on Craigslist for like $1,200. I had some guy drive from Wisconsin to central Minnesota and pick the thing up, which was amazing, and I hope everything worked out for him. He told me he was going to put a Hayabusa front end on it and turn it into something really crazy. I never heard anything back or saw any photos of it, so I don't know how that project went, but interesting nevertheless. Here's a few photos of that particular bike in the process of me redoing it, followed by some of what it looked like when I sold it. So between the Kawasaki and this 1100, those are really the two only motorcycles that I've really hands-on like tore completely apart and rebuilt from the ground up. I did have plans with a really good friend of mine to start buying some older motorcycles, getting them running and flipping them for profit and whatnot, and then also just to have fun and to learn some stuff. And we did this for maybe, 2 summers or so. And unfortunately, that's all the time that we had, because my friend lost his life on a motorcycle the day before we were supposed to go on a huge weekend ride. And ever since then, to be honest with you, I've really lost a lot of interest in the motorcycle game. I still love and enjoy them, and the craftsmanship and the engineering and everything is so amazing to me. But, when you lose a close friend that you put a lot of hours of ride time with, it just it takes the sparkle off of it a little bit. And I know he'd be probably very pissed at me for not continuing on with our mission, our plan, or just riding in general. And I can't blame him, but I'm hoping to either change that or just move on. So after losing one of my best friends on a motorcycle, you can kind of probably see why I haven't done a lot of riding since then. And actually, I went out about 2 weeks after he passed on my Kamikaze, and the chain came off, wrapped up around the back wheel as I hit fifth gear wide open, and pretty much just about killed me at that point. And I haven't not ridden since. But I kind of want that to change, possibly. I mean, I guess I'd be okay not riding again, but yet the thrill of the ride, it's so relaxing and calming, and it's just a sensation that if you haven't experienced yourself, you just wouldn't understand. And I do kind of miss that, but I also enjoy living and being around every day to do other stuff. So it's kind of a toss-up, but it is what it is. That's kind of a little bit of background on my motorcycle history and love/hate for them. If you enjoyed today's video, give it a thumbs up. As always, stay positive, work hard, and make it happen.